So, the lady was, some was supposed to be teaching today, but also to come. Don't know. Don't know about money. Okay. Yeah. So last week we looked at Paul's teaching around marriage. And again, we are remembering everything that we are learning is about how Christians should live, how people who say they follow Jesus Christ should live. You always remember that because sometimes the rest of the world has adopted some of the ways that Christians are supposed to live. And so sometimes we are expecting something from the real. But Ukrainian, the real truth is that this is how Christians are supposed to live. So when others don't live like that, it's not such a big deal. It's a bigger deal if those who say they are Christians are not living like that. That is what we should be worried about. But as for the world, those who are not going to follow Jesus Christ, or those who say they follow Jesus Christ, that's in more. Don't be surprised. They will not take some of these things seriously. We shouldn't be surprised by it. So when Paul was giving his instructions, he was focusing on how we can be holy and loving with him, husband and wife relationship. But he continued, it's human being who put the verses and chapters in the book. Paul didn't write and say this is verse 5 verses. He was writing one long letter. So the verse 5, 20 downwards, he was writing all the way to chapter 6, 1 to 10 there. It was all instructions. And so today we are looking at the instructions that he gave. He was giving these instructions into home churches that are meeting in homes. And most of the time, what happened was these churches, they have a mix of people, Jews, Gentiles, slaves, free, women, men, children. So now he's just addressing the individual groups in the church. And he goes on now to address two groups that he started by addressing wives and then he did husbands. Then he's going to address two more groups, which I will call vulnerable groups. They are vulnerable because it's only today that we are comfortable with the way we live the life today, that we treat children the way we treat them. And we are worried about slavery. Slavery is a bad thing. But in the ancient world, it wasn't so. Children had a different experience, and slaves also had a different experience. So there were people who, in Paul's mind, there are people who need to be protected. And so we'll read Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 to 9. And then we'll delve into it. We are coming to read it for us today.
Ephesians 6, 1 to 9. Family relationship. Children, obey your parents, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment to be effective, so that it may be well with you, and that you be wrong on the day. Fathers, do not be but bring them up in their discipline and instruction. Slaves, be obedient to those who according to the profession here, sincerity of your heart, I say, as men princes, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God in God, with whom you render service, as the Lord, not in, knowing that whatever we one does, this will receive back the Lord, whether slave or free. Masters, do the same and keep our
No, stop
keep
it.
our trees,
Okay.
knowing that both their masters, yours is heaven, and there is
No food.
actually
Amen. Yes. So he starts by addressing children. He said, children, they should obey their parents in the Lord, for this is right. That is, he's assuming that this letter will be read in a place where children actually are, so that they will hear what he's saying. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment of the promise, so that you may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on earth. So, one, it's interesting. Their meetings will have children there. We need to remember, in the ancient world, that Paul is writing the letter. I was just telling somebody, children were like property. In fact, some people even treated children almost like animals. What many of us don't remember, but it's in the history books. In Africa, like this. Okay, so let me put it this way. You see, we have the concept of sacrifices. We want to sacrifice to our gods, so that the God will do something favorable for us. So we normally give sheep and goats and one. Sometimes we also give human beings, especially children. So almost every culture, at least let me speak in Africa, I know it was popular almost everywhere. So many cultures across the world were used to child sacrifice. The idea is whatever you have, which you can give to the God so that he will look well on you, you give to them. I hope you are getting it. So it is not surprising that if you have children, you can give it to them. You can slaughter him and give it to the gods. So far as you get the God to be good on you. Which is also why, well, let's don't forget, they had plenty of children. So if I take one of them and I just say, so one of the constitutions is why someone like Abraham, God has given him only one child. And God gives him instruction to go and sacrifice that child. And he doesn't blink. He gets up. Because it is normal in that world that the gods can even ask for your children to be sacrificed. And you go. You take them. Of course, I'm sure the mother was not happy at all. The children are not getting one. So we only got one pair, then you are saying you are going to sacrifice. Are you sure you heard God telling you that? You can imagine what was going on here. Because they said the woman was already 100 years old. And son was able to give birth to one child. One, then you are going to. But it was not strange to Abraham because when he grew up, child sacrifice is normal. I hope you are getting it. So basically, the child has become just like an animal. Like a sheep or a goat. So that was a word, and of course, God said, "Oh, Abraham, please don't sacrifice it. Let me give you a good, give you a sheep, use that one, blah 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 blah," and that whole thing ended. It was actually meant for me. I see it as it was meant to question Abraham's understanding of God. Does he think that Yahweh is like all the other gods? Because naturally, he would think Yahweh is like all the other gods. They sacrifice human beings. So why won't it? If Yahweh says me to actually sacrifice my son, it's normal. Okay. But it's just driving the point. Children were not seen as valuable. Even if they were valuable, it's about having plenty so that if something happens and you have to, some of them have to be let go of. Doesn't matter. Then in Paul's world also, you have the problem of one way of doing abortion is you have the child, and if you have too many boys, and you feel like, oh, or if you have too many girls, then you go and throw one in the bush. Then, and it's not so much that you do that. Right now, if you do that, people see that you are irresponsible mother or father, whoever. But those days, nobody would ask you a question. So, how can you throw the child down? You hear me? Because in their mind, let's not forget, human beings themselves, they didn't see human beings as valuable as we see them today. We say every human being is made in the image of God. So every human being you see, whether it's a baby or an adult, he represents God. Therefore, he's not to be trivialized. But even in our own African context, this is not our worldview. So when the missionaries came here, that's one of the things they had to struggle with. That the locals were sacrificing their children. So I think one of the bonds, some of these ones, when the British were signing it, but one of the things they mentioned in the agreement was that we must stop child sacrifice. I hope you are getting this. And if you think about it, if children were that valuable to us, if we saw them like the way we see them, they will see that they are precious, cannot just mess them up. They won't get up and go and be sacrificing themselves. It tells you that they had a different mentality about children. But Paul is now talking to home church in Ephesus, and he's saying he's not just giving instructions. He went on and he said, "Fathers, don't exasperate your children." So now his instruction to the fathers on how they should treat the children. But he started by talking to the children first. I hope you are getting me. So as in like they can follow instructions. We can actually have a conversation with them and try to guide them and talk to them. In the ancient world, nobody writes a letter and addresses themselves to children. And the reason why we can do this comparison is because these kinds of household guidance, Paul is not the first person to have written some. There are many household guidance instructions in the ancient world, in Paul's time. So when you compare, we can compare them now. Scholars can compare household instructions from the ancient with what household instructions someone like Paul was giving. So you can tell very clearly the difference. That in much of the ancient world, they only talk to the fathers. You are the most important people. We give you all the instructions. Go and tell your children. But he started off by talking to wives. Because in Paul's mind, everybody is in the body of Christ. Everybody is of value. So if I have some instructions, I'm not going to give it to the men to go and give it to their wives. The women who are in the meeting. So I'll tell them directly. You get me? The children are also in the meeting. So I'll tell them directly what I think is good for them. So when you compare household codes, it's called household codes. Household code. Household codes. When scholars compare them, the household codes around the time it falls, like you can see clearly that the Christians were ahead in the way they treat people because they considered everybody to be of value. So when we are giving instructions, we don't just say the men are the more important people, and then we give you all the instructions. The men, you must watch your house and keep it well, and instruct the women to do it. That is how household codes were in Paul's time. Other comparisons, we're always addressing ourselves to the men because the men were useful human beings, and everybody else was just. And it's not surprising, even in most of these social religious groupings, most of the time it's only the men who go anyway. They just follow the culture in that time. Even Ghana family meetings, most of the time, Penny and his one of my people are meeting. It's only men Asia, the money they're motivated now. I hope you are getting it. That was the typical mindset in the ancient world. So the women, children, slaves are not on the same level. For me, Paul, who is in prison, to spend my time writing a letter and address everybody. We need to remember this. So because we are reading the Bible like this, you don't understand that Paul is way ahead of his time in giving these instructions, because that is not how the rest of the world was treating men and women and slaves and free and children. So you get what I'm coming from. So we need to remember that children were non-entities in the ancient world. And so nobody ever addressed themselves to them. People, if I have a child and I don't like them, I throw them away. Nobody will complain. Today, when you do that, people will complain. But at that time, nobody complained. And some people, it was their job to go to most of the time, the people who don't want to, they go and dump them the rubbish. Then some people, their job, slave traders, their job is to go to the rubbish, go and find ladies and bring them and come and take care of them so that when they go, they can sell them. So that's a way in which people became slaves. And we'll talk about slavery because you mentioned slavery. So people's job is to be watching the border so that if somebody comes and leave their baby, then he will go and take it. Then he will, that's his investment. It's like somebody, if you are raising cattle, or sheep or goat, so if the female goat has given birth, you want to take care of the children so that when you go, you sell them and make money. Human beings were doing that to other human beings by going to the rubbish heap, find babies, so that they can take care of them. And most of the time, the babies in the rubbish heap, most of them were female. Most of them were female. Why? It's because the usual thing. The men and the baby are there. The men are the ones who are going to hand. So if I have more men, it's to my advantage. So if I have, maybe I have one girl, okay, fine. Two girls, okay, fine. Three, no, I have too many. I have to get rid of them. I hope you're getting me. So one of the things that the early church started doing was we also started going to the rubbish heap, go and find children, but so that they can take care of them and add them to the church, not as slaves. How do you get me? They had a different mindset that humans are precious. So instead of the pagan world, they don't care about the children, they throw them away. We want them. Why? God made them his image. They are not animals. They are useful to him. So, Mumpa, Yebefa. This is why we Christians, adoption of children is important to us. Unfortunately, in Ghanaian Christianity, we made adoption a filthy thing. So we have many people who are struggling to have children. We will not tell them that, oh, you know, if you are struggling, why don't you look at adoption? Meanwhile, the people who are going to bother to go and take their children to raise them, people had children already, and they were going to add more children to it. That's fine. But other people didn't have, they were also taking. What somebody doesn't like, turn something to somebody else. They are valuable, they are precious. So we don't allow people to mistreat them. And so we also don't say that unless me match him, no matter what media, and yeah, God has done something wrong. Because God's family is not made up of only those who came through children. How did he found the church? He said Jew, Gentile, this, that, whatever. So far as they come into the family, he counts them as. But today, we Christians of modern world have rather made adopting children a no-no. Because we are rather using that to tell you that it means that God hates you. That's why you don't have children. Or it means that you are doing something wrong. That's why you don't have children. We are rather using that to make people feel bad about themselves. So, you know, in English, children are to be seen, not to be heard. That was, and put down finds a modern statement. Like, children are, they shouldn't be, you know, coming to most, a lot of parents, you know, like, I'm the parent, I said this, you must do this. There is no attempt to understand, okay, why is the child saying this? What is it? You get it? But that comes from that way of thinking where it's like, you are my property. You are my property. So when I talk, if you can't listen and do it exactly as I say, and shut up your mouth. I hope you are getting me. But that's not how we Christians from our beginning have treated children. And that's why Paul is saying, don't exasperate your children. Don't mistreat them. Say that, but of course, it's the fathers who are like, I'm waiting for always. So you have to address it as the father. I beg now, but Treman Parano. Then my also have patience for them. No, don't exasperate them. But bring them up in training, instruction. Paul knows what he's saying. This is in line when Jesus in Matthew 19. So if you read down Matthew 19, verse 13, 14. Matthew 19, 13 and 14.
Matthew
13 and 14.
Jesus blesses. Then some children were brought to like shake his hands to them and pray. And the disciples rebuked them. But he said to them, let the children alone, and do not hinder them coming. For the kingdom of heaven is such.
Yes, in 15, when he had placed his hand on them, he went on. So let the children come to me, and do not hinder them. The kingdom of heaven belongs to one such as these. All right. So that is Jesus' own attitude. They are valuable. The kingdom of God belongs to them. They are not goats to be sacrificed to Baal and Akonedi and I don't know whichever gods you want to call them. So Paul is not doing anything different from what Jesus said. He's just going in the same line. Children are valuable. Have patience with them. Find a way to work. Children, you too. Obey your parents. You know, it is good. You have long life. It's not like, oh, it is a guarantee. You want to obey your children. It's just, you learn wisdom from your parents. They will guide you. Do you receive proper guidance from your parents? It doesn't mean that all parents are wise people, and there are a few who are not correct. But that's why we have the body of Christ, so that when some parents are fooling, you can tell them, "Master, don't be messing around with children like that." I hope you are getting it. But that is where we Christians come from when we are talking about children. They are made in the image of God, just like you and I. So they are precious. This is why, if you look in the history of child care and child improvement and blah, 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 and all of it is traced to Christianity. Today, in the modern world, we are, make sure we are taking care of the children. Some now it's even becoming bosom. We are spending too much money on the children. Now the children have become a status symbol. Making sure my child goes to the best school in the world. Now it's not just taking good care. Now it's become how you feel about yourself. But the primary point for us as Christians is they are valuable. We must invest in them. So if you look down all through the history of the world up to now today, many people don't want us to say it, but it is Christianity that has made us care about children today. We can say all we want about the faults of Christianity and its problems and whatnot. And people, we have a problem right now where in Europe and other countries where you've had Roman Catholic priests who are abusing children and all those kind of things. That is not right. That is a failure of the church and its leadership. And if Christians have done wrong, they should be called out to doing wrong. But sometimes the question you need to ask the rest of the world is, why are you outraged? If it was not for us, you wouldn't be outraged. You wouldn't have seen that this thing is wrong behavior, because in the ancient world, everybody was throwing their children around anyway, anyhow. It is we who have taught you that you shouldn't treat children this way. For you now to kind of be telling us that, oh, the thing that the priests are doing is wrong. I hope you are getting it. Again, if what is wrong is wrong, and we should not hide them. But these things, I want Christians to be young people. We should be aware of where we have come from. That the world was not like this. And it is because of Jesus Christ that the world is like this when it comes to how we are treating children today. Our African cultures and religions were very, very much into sacrificing children. child sacrifice was all over the place. And it's not just African, it was in so many other places. I hope you are getting it. And it's all because of this thing. A nipa valuable. That's the foundation for us as Christians. It doesn't matter whether they are children or they are adults, they are precious. They should not be treated anyway, anyhow. And the way, if God Himself, Jesus Christ came and said, hey, let the children come to me. He is God's representation. He says the children should come to Him. Now, the kingdom is for them. Then what rights do we have to be mistreating the children in English? No. So, to be honest, when we look at the history of humanity, Christianity has done the most in pushing the needs of children, taking care of orphan children and education. Look at Ghana. The plenty schools we have all of them. Where are they from? You know, most of them like go to NCHS level. They have church. All the top schools are church-based. They have Christian-based. And the Protestant Reformation, it's like, okay, yeah, we know people learn, but we want our governments to start running public schools so that children will learn how to read and write. So public schools and government funding public schools started around the Protestant Reformation to give children education. Why? Because mainly we Protestants, everybody to be able to read the Bible. So we wanted to help children to be able to read, everybody to be able to literate, so they can read the Bible for themselves. Okay, so let's not ever forget that. Sometimes the world wants us to think that we are the people who have done the worst things. No, we are not. We have our own problems. But Jesus is the reason why some of the things are better in the world today. And one of them is childcare. So then he goes on now, he's talking about another class of people. Another class of people who we don't take seriously, just like children were not being taken seriously in their time. Another class of people who call slaves. And he says, the slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear, with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Obey them to not only win their favor and their eyes on you, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from your heart. Serve wholeheartedly, as if you are serving the Lord, not people, because you know that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good they do, whether they are slave or free. And that part is important. Whether we are slave or free, whatever we are doing to help a fellow human being, we are doing it, we should do it well, because we are doing it for God. Again, even if that person is your master, I hope you are getting it. We are doing it for their benefit. We are doing it with our hearts. Okay. Now, this is one of those places where the world wants to jump at Christianity. With regards to slavery. And the first question, again, Paul is addressing himself to another non-entity. Like I said, nobody talks household goods. Nobody talks to wives, talks to children, or talks to slaves. Slaves are useless human beings. If you are near jail, and but Paul is writing this letter, and he assumes that within the body of Christ, there are slaves. That means, again, this body is a place where People from different backgrounds, high, low, whatever, are all able to come together. This is not how religions have been practiced since forever. If you go to India, you have whole caste systems. You know, have you ever seen Indians who are dark, more skin dark? In India, their caste system, the people who have dark skin are the lowest. It's not a small matter. Like, you can be denied a job because your skin is dark. You cannot marry somebody who is high. Like, it is a caste system. Maybe today things are getting better, but still. And what I've even heard is that even when they move to another country, like in the US, people have hustled and they moved for India and they have gone to the US and they are all working in big companies, blah, blah, blah. Even now, still, some people want to prevent people from a lower caste from marrying their children. They are in an advanced country with all the blacks are marrying whites, whites are marrying this, but still people want to preserve that. The divisions of the world, they are not been small. For a religion to say, oh, we don't care about all the divisions, everybody can be here. Today, it's normal for us to talk about some of these things. Oh, why are you a backward man? You say that white man cannot marry black man. What kind of man? No. Some of these things, Christianity does that. It didn't make sense for the Israel world because they want to keep their divisions. So it is not normal for Paul to write a letter to a church in that time, and you have children, women, men, and slaves, and he's talking to all of them and addressing them. People don't realize this. We are just reading the Bible as if it is a modern day letter, but it is an ancient letter. How we are getting it. And if you are going to understand and see how radical what the New Testament is, you need to understand it from what was happening then, not what is happening now. Okay. So there are a few things. He's talking about slavery. In Paul's time, slavery was different from today, the slavery that we Africans experience. We need to be very, very clear. This week, Mahama, our president, has gotten the UN to vote to say that the transatlantic slave trade and what you call, the term is racialized chattel slavery was a crime against humanity. And we must admit that it was a crime against humanity. All right? 3 countries rejected it, but 123 countries accepted it, and 52 countries didn't vote. You know the usual suspects. 3 countries, US, Argentina, and Israel, they say no, we will not support that mission. All the colonizers, France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, UK, all of them, they say they won't vote. And then the rest, 20 people say, oh, no, this is wrong. So at least 123, we have passed. It has been accepted that the slavery that happened that time was wrong. But again, Paul is giving instructions to slaves, and people are reading this slavery as if it was the slavery that the Europeans came to do here. But we are missing the point. The slavery at that time is more like the slavery we had here before the Europeans came, or even before the Arabs also came to start stealing people, taking people from them, stealing them, taking people from them. Everywhere in the world, the ancient world, tribes were fighting each other. If I fight you and you lose, I take your people and take them as slaves. It happened in Israel. Babylon came, scattered them, and carried them and took them normal. Everybody was doing that. I hope you are getting it. So war and people becoming slaves through war was normal. And two, trading people. I gave the example. Somebody takes the baby from the rubbish heap, you raise it, and then you go and sell. That is also happening. I hope you are getting it. But there's also a third form. That one is even more common, which is voluntary. One person also, Mami Mbeye Aqua and Mom. I myself, I'll become a slave. Why? You see, if you are today, things are much better. But back then, you could have situations where there was so much hunger, there was so much poverty that the thing you eat today, you won't get. But maybe this man or he has plenty land and he needs people to come and work for him. Once you go and work for him there, you get something to eat. So instead of sitting down and saying, oh, I am free, I have my independence. So me there, I will not go and work for anybody. Some people are like, well, can I come and serve under you? So that for a period of time, I will be getting. That is also a form of slavery. Can I come and serve under you? Because at least that one you can guarantee is that you will get something to eat. Nobody here. Empower. So you see, even in the Old Testament, there was a lot of rules that God gave about it. So you can only keep them as slaves for 7 years. You can only do this. When they are leaving, you must give them something. All those things. To make sure you don't abuse them. So there were time limits to that, especially the voluntary kind of slavery. And in addition, a slave is not the property of the voluntary slave, the honored buy, he is not your property for you to mistreat him. And when he has children, they don't belong to you. I hope you are getting it. Then another thing, probably the most important thing, is that a slave can be somebody from your neighborhood who has the same skin color like you. You get it? So the slavery that Paul is writing a letter to here is totally different from the slavery that the Europeans did. Because what they did was that they declared that the people with black skin should be the slaves. And we, the white skinned people, we should be open. So they stopped slavery among themselves. Because slavery among themselves was happening. That's right. We need to get that. That was happening. Once they realized they can take a ship and come here and give our people money so that we go and bring them slaves. So what's happening? Our people were doing a normal fighting and taking slaves. And then it's, oh, but we want some of them, so you bring some. Then now, instead of just, oh, me and you, we have some fight, and then now you were giving people money, guns, and so on to just go out and catch people. So there's a difference between this tribe and this tribe. We have our own internal fights. You get me? And as a result of that, we fought, and then, or maybe you came to somebody from your tribe came and hurt my brother or my sister. So we came to fight. That one is normal fighting amongst people. Okay, and that one was not you want to make money out. But when the Europeans came, it became a business. I hope you are getting it. And that is the difference between the slavery, even the slavery that the Bible, because the slavery that the Bible was talking about The only people who are doing it as a business were those who are going to take people and then they raise them and then they sell them. And yes, there are a few people who are going about raiding, so on, also to sell. But when it came to the African, the Europeans brought money, they brought guns, they gave it to our people and say, take and go and find your fellow black man and capture them and bring them. I will give you money. So the small fight between us was no longer enough. Now, even if I don't have a fight, I might just get up and go and start killing because of money. Then they'll bring the human beings, you carry them on the ship. Half of them will die on the ship because the journey is long. And they're not giving them proper food, they have chained them, they are in the ship. So plenty died. They threw their body in the sea. Before they will get to the Caribbeans, the Jamaicans, those places, that's where the farms were. And then a few, there's some too in America. And when you get there, they trade you, you are a slave for all your life. There's no option for you to say, oh, it's only for 5 years. You get me? Which is different from the one I'm saying, the political, you can, oh, it's only for this. No. You are the property of the slave master, and you must serve, and your children too are the property of the slave master. So you are an animal. Because that's how the goats and the sheep that we keep. When your goat gives birth, you don't say, oh, the children of the goat are not mine. You hear me? The children are yours as well. So this is the difference between the slavery that existed in Africa before both the Arabs and the Europeans came, and then the slavery that now existed at. And this is why it is good news that at least we've gotten the world to accept that what they did was wrong. So we should stop comparing. Say, oh, but we ourselves, are we to be the people who went to catch the slaves for the white people? As if, oh, we were already catching ourselves, so it's okay. So what we did, we should stop blaming the white people or the Europeans for what they did. No, we were not doing it as a business. They turn our mind to think that we have to do it as a business. And we were reducing our population by doing that. And so our economies were going down by doing that. Whilst we give the human beings to them, and they would use the labor to propel their economies forward. So we call it racialized chattel slavery. Racialized chattel slavery. Racialized because we only limit it to black race. So I'm not wear slaves. You get me? Chattel means they become your property for life. So racialized chattel slavery is evil. Because the human beings that we are taking out of there, one, you are incentivizing people to fight among themselves. You are bringing money to tell them, go and fight among yourselves and steal your people and bring them. You are decimating them. Then number two, take them, go to your country, and go and use it to develop your country. So they are, when Paul is saying, oh, the slaves should be, and then so what people have been accusing us Christians of that. People that said the Bible, Paul, he was in support of slavery. You get me? Because they don't understand that the slavery at the time of Paul is different from the slavery that the Europeans came to do here. They are totally different. And number two, yes, we know that even that form of slavery was not nice. But that is why Paul is saying the church is made up of Jew, Gentile, male, female, free and slave. And you must all learn to live together. So he gives instructions. Oh, you the slaves, know how to live with your masters. Serve them well. So and so. You get it? And then he tells the masters, remember that you have a master up there in heaven. Remember it. Verse 9, and masters, treat your slaves in the same way. It's the same way. So he said the slaves should treat their masters well. And he said, masters, you should treat them the same way. Sorry, is that how our Europeans were treating the slaves? Europeans and Americans were treating the slaves? No. Many of them would say, oh, they are Christians, we'll get up, they'll go to church. And they were using this to support themselves. But Paul says that you people, you slaves, you must do everything that I see. So they'll read verse 5 up to verse 8, then they are happy. But then the verse 9, and masters, treat your slaves the same way. Do not threaten them, since you know that he who is both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with him. Is this somebody who is happy about sleep? He understands the situation. There are people, and even so, if you look in the American situation, when after the Civil War, they had a civil war. The North and the South were fighting each other over slavery. And the North won, so they canceled slavery. Once we canceled it, a lot of Black American people died. Why? Because they say if you set people free, so whatever you go and do, don't give them it. Sometimes the world is not an equal place and everybody has everything. Paul knows that. And in certain cases, being a slave was better than being free because you will not get some. Today, we are in a much better place. So we don't have to tell people that they need to be in slavery. But in that time, in that world, sometimes the only way people could survive was to say, let me go and look at the story of the prodigal son. Because someone said, Charlie, I'm hungry. Let me go and serve this man who has these pigs. He's a Jew. The Jews don't work with pigs. But you have to go and do it. Because of that hand to mouth, as you talk. Every day you'll be filthy, you'll be unclean because he's touching pigs. But hand to mouth, you have to do it. So sometimes we have to ideal and a picture of the world. Oh, slavery is an evil thing. If ever time that anybody gets into slavery, slavery is not the same. But today we are in a world right now where we have provided much more opportunities for everybody. People don't need to be slavery again. And there's a more important thing. The church must be working to make life easy for wherever it finds itself, so that people don't have to go into slavery. And today, we have political power. We have people who will listen. But when Paul's time, these are house churches. Nobody cares about what it gives a damn. There'll be a new Christian Paul. Some can say, hey, slavery is not. Hey. Oh, you will finish all of them. You get it? So it's not about, they didn't tell the king that slavery is bad. No. It's more about how are you treating the slaves among yourself. That is what determines whether you really care about them. Don't wait to the day that you have political power before you say that let's treat the slaves well. But people like to do that. Oh, he himself, he won't remove 5 cities to help support somebody. He rather wants government. We must make sure the government will change the laws so that 5 cities you won't give. I hope you get it. So for us as Christians, we use a different approach when it comes to dealing with people who are vulnerable. The society will be doing what it's doing. Then we are doing underground. We are working all the vulnerable people. We put our money where our mouth is before we get to a place where we have political power to say the thing we're doing. That is how it's the same Christians who were able to get slavery abolished. And it was not for the British Empire who put pressure on the Muslim world, they would still have been practicing slavery. It was the British Empire who said, no, we will not, if you want our help, you, the Muslim countries, you have to stop slavery. So they stopped their slavery around 1910, 19 whatever. Meanwhile, in Europe, that ended around 1860 something. It was almost like 50 years, 60 years after, before the Arab world stopped their slavery. And even now, it was the pressure from European governments that pushed them to stop. I hope you are getting it. So we need to remember this. For us as Christians, the church is a place where people from different society, do different levels of society. Paul is saying that God is building a temple, and he wants different colored stones from different places to come together and build that temple. And the stones can be Jew, Gentile, children, adult, slave, free, women, men, rich, poor. God is putting all those stones together to build a temple. The temple he calls what? The body of Christ, which is the people here. That is why he considers all of them on the same level. That is the mind behind us as Christians and how we treat others. So we must always be cautious because the world, its default is that let me use the divisions that are already there to treat people. Hey, who are you? How can you come and tell me this? Me, I'm this, you are that. Don't you respect? I'm the software. How can you talk to me like that? I am the this. I am the professor of Mama. Who are you to? That is the world's way of doing it. But for us, we do it different. Seeing that the body of Christ is a place for people from different places to be together in a united fashion. That's why all this while Paul has been talking about unity. And Kabum, you're free to be for all kind of places. But Ibishia and Kabum. I hope you're getting. So at least today, I will commend our president for bringing that issue up and getting the world to vote on it. Now, whether we shall get something out of it is another matter. But at least young kind of president was evil. And number two, we should stop comparing that slavery to the slavery in the Bible or to the slavery that was happening among us and Africa. They are not the same. They are not the same at all. I hope you are getting it. They are not the same. Amen. Any questions, comments? Pressure. And then today's what? The human level. That's a good question. Okay, one. Some of it is societal pressure. And you see in like even 1990s, yeah, China was running a system of one child. And because of that, a lot of parents wanted only a male, only male. And it's a bema the baby idea. They are married. So you have a lot of parents who are more firstborn. The firstborn is a girl, then they go and do abortion. Or like they won't wait for even the child to be born. And abortion was very, very legal in China. Oh, you get pregnant with it. Is it a boy or a girl? It's a boy. And that one they accept. Oh, it's a girl. Let's go and do abortion. Because the society somehow placed men as vulnerable. And this is 1990. 1990. So right now, China has a problem because the men are way more than the women. They are struggling to find wives to marry. After 2 almost time now, so now they've changed a lot. They say, oh no, now you can have as many children as. But now they are struggling to get one husband and wife to give birth. Now most of them are into 1, 2, 1, 2. That's what's happening in China. But what for some in that direction? So now the incentive to have more children is gone down. Plus, no more boy at the end. So we are saying 1, 2, 1. It's a problem for China. Have to deal with it. And not just them, but other countries, even in Western world, who are doing 1, 2, 1, 2. And if part 2, if you give birth to 1, it means you are reducing the population. At least keep it at 2, so that you know that they say when you go, there are 2 people to replace you. But if you do 1, it means you are reducing the population. But only one worker. So it just tells you that the cultural mind that a man, that was what is driving them. So that's number 1. But number 2, it's just it's again still that human beings are like they didn't have that level of connection to their children that we have today. I hope you are getting me. We have to again reaction as some. And then there are times the idea that human beings are valuable was not important. And in Ghana, I can see that we still have that problem. They say, July, the children will go and catch him and beat the person. Nobody will ask me, take him to the police station so that we will catch. Who says that he actually stole the thing just because somebody called him? Human beings are not vulnerable. So it doesn't matter whether they really did what they did. We pour all our anger on them and we kill them. God forbid that somebody calls you Julio. Chief. You are dead. Why should it be that way? It's because human beings are not vulnerable. Look at the number of people who are dying on our road accidents. So how do you see it? In other places, they are doing all they can to prevent accidents. But then, you go to church, God, please protect me and my wife and my children. He doesn't care what's happening to them. All he's thinking about is, God, protect me and my family. Meanwhile, the policeman who is on the road watching cars passing by. The man for speeding, whatever, he doesn't care. So far as he alone, he's fine. You get me? So do we still have those elements in us? Enipa nkwa ehu nya yɛ saa. What is even worse is in Kayen Christopher, we are people who need to realize the truth that Nipa nkwa hu nya. But we have become the people who don't care. Mm.
I'm very observant. I like I'm very observant with how. So she came with children,